going to start at verse 36. Hebrews chapter 11, I'm going to start at verse 36, and I'm going to read to verse 40. The text says, and others had trial of cruel mockings and scourgings, yea, moreover, of bonds and imprisonment. They were stoned, they were sawed asunder, were tempted, were slain with the sword. They wandered about in sheepskins and goatskins, being destitute, afflicted, tormented, of whom the world was not worthy. They wandered in deserts and in mountains and in dens and caves of the earth. And these all, having obtained a good report through faith, received not the promise, God having provided some better thing for us, that they without us should not be made perfect. And others had trials of cruel mocking, scourging, bonds of imprisonment. I want to talk about living under tension. Living under tension. A great preacher of old said, the mystery of a ship at sea keeping its course day and night through all weathers lie in the fact that it moves in two worlds. On the one side is the ship itself, the sea it rides upon, the storms that beat upon it, the fog that encompasses it, and all the seen universe that surrounds it. But another world is there, invisible and tangible, playing with unseen magnetic fingers on the ship's compass. That is so strange a realm that for ages man did not dream that it was there at all. But now the ship keeps its course by means of it, an unseen magnetic world that guides the mariner even through night and fog and storm. You know, human life is like that. We live in two worlds, the one material, the one physical, the one visible, the other immaterial, intangible, invisible. Like some animals of the sea, whales and seals in particular, though their habitat is water, they have another need and must from time to time come up to breathe the air. So are we. We are immersed in the flesh, yet we cannot live by flesh alone. But we must rise into this other realm of spirit with his faiths, with his ideas, with his doctrines, with his victorious beauty of righteousness. Here is the mystery of the Christian life as a ship that lives in two worlds. The writer of the Hebrews, he gives us a magnificent, glorious account of what I call the hall of faith. He names all of those who had victories after victories. They was consistent in their faith. They believed in the faith. They knew the exposition of the faith that says, now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. They knew that faith is a dynamic certainty made up of two servitudes, a future servitude that makes one sure of the future as if it was already present. And then you had a visual servitude that brings the invisible within view. In the hall of faith, we learn Ahab turned her house into a sanctuary house. In the hall of faith, we learned that Gideon had a divestment program. He did a deduction from 32,000 to 300. We learn in the hall of faith that Barak token army became victorious against 900 chariots of iron. We learn of Samson. We learn of David. We learn Samuel. All the victories that they have. Through faith, they subdued kingdoms. They wrought righteousness. The promises was obtained. Violence of fire was quenched. Weakness made strong. Women received their dead back to life. And then, in a swift transition of thought, the writer moved from faith's obvious victories, obvious triumphs. He moves to what seems to be defeats. But the defeats, they were only apparent. They were not real. Because with us, with our eyes, our natural eyes, they look as though they are defeats. He says now, when you get to and others, immediately you see the tragedy of the world. Before you seen everything victorious, like God is behind all of these members of the Hall of Faith, and then all of a sudden, and others had trials, accrued mockings, scourgings, and others. Like, Lord, you mentioned all of these folks' names that was victorious. Then you come down to the ones that seem to be defeated, and the only name you give them, and others. Their names are not mentioned. They became the great multitude of the anonymous men and women of everyday life. Their names are not mentioned. Then the Lord spoke to me. He said, now wait a minute. You got beside yourself. Most people in the Bible did not have their names mentioned. The woman with the issue of blood, I didn't get her name. The Samaritan, which we call good, who fell among thieves, I didn't get his name. The man with the infirmity for 38 years, I didn't get his name. Matter of fact, the thief that received salvation on the cross, surely I thought you would mention his name, but I didn't get his name. God is concerned with the and others also. He says and others. Heteros, which means another of a different kind. Another of a different kind? This word introduces a different class of victories achieved by faith. There's nothing wrong with being and others. Yeah. We even introduce our boo, our wife, as our significant other. We don't have no problem then. He says, and others. He said, but notice the class of people that brought tension. The and others. They had trials of cruel mockings. Trials of cruel mockings. Let me drop it down to the table. They talked about them. Yeah, They talked about her. Talk about their mama, daddy, sister, brother. They talk about it. Now, truth be told, this really is the mildest form of persecution. Because, you know, in my day, we used to say talk is cheap. That's the mildest form of persecution, but it is often all that is needed to make some believers recant their faith in Jesus Christ. How come you don't go to church no more? I didn't like what she said to me. You mean they didn't physically abuse you? Nah, they just said something. Did you hear it? Nah, it was just the way they looked. So you let the mildest form enable you to recant your faith. Mental mocking, being ridiculed, being insulted, being treated with contempt and curse, you allow that to become your tragedy. Now, while these things, I gotta admit, they do bring tension to our feelings, yet they also serve to make manifest the sufficiency of divine grace to support us under the trials of cruel mockings. God is able to sustain us in the mildest forms of persecution. Let us remember when we are reproached for Christ's sake and ridiculed because of our allegiance to God's truth, call to mind that this was the mildest form of suffering which many who went before us was called to endure. How do I know? Galatians 4:29. But as then he that was born after the flesh persecuted him that was born after the Spirit, even so it is now. If they did it then, they're going to do it now. You got to keep on moving. Then he goes to scourging. I know I got to hurry here. He go to scourging. Not only is there emotional, mental abuse, but there's physical abuse. This word believes that scourging is an effective means to get any person or prisoner to talk. Now, I had a flashback when I done wrong and mom and dad, who done this? I don't know. They knew how to get it out of you. Some folks don't use nowadays broomsticks, belts, extension cords. So this was an effective means to get any person or prisoner to talk. And now we should not confuse Roman scourging with Jewish. The Jews used rods. The Romans leather thongs in which they embedded pieces of metal or bone, the lashings of their backs with the whip cords of metal and bone. It was a painful experience. As it hit in and recoiled, it took out chunks of flesh. It drew blood. They was under some tension here. They had lacerated bodies. It was not only a painful form of suffering, but a most humiliating one as well. Scourgings was reserved for the most low down and debased, degenerate of men. Many had been crippled or killed doing such a beating. he goes on and he says, I'm still in the tragedy of the world. I'm trying to hurry here. He says, yea, moreover, of bonds and imprisonments. I tell folks all the time, pay attention to every word. He says, yea, moreover, you got yea, day, moreover, at he. Lord, wait a minute. Yea, moreover. He said, no, figure out what they mean. He said, these words are used commonly to express a climax. So it's not only was they under tension for being beat. Not everybody died from the beating. So to make the tension more greater, what they did, put them in bonds, imprisonment. Bonds, cords, chains, feathers, binding them fast so that they couldn't run away. In other words, put them on the leash. They chain their hand, their foot. Sometime for years, even Paul the apostle suffered this as well. They were imprisoned in the most horrendous dungeons, prisons in the history of men. We remember Jeremiah. He was in prison. That was a hole in the ground. They had lowered down some rope. He had to put it under his shoulder to lift him out. Y'all read y'all Bible. Had to lift him out. It wasn't no cute prison like San Quentin and Joliet and some of these. You go in there, at least they got a mattress on the cement and 3 meals a day and get to go in the yard. It wasn't nothing like that. They was in prison. Yet we live in a time where we have individual and institutional justice that seeks to dehumanize the innocent until proven guilty. The tragedy of the world is it robs people of their human status by labels and name calling in order to make the act of oppression tolerable to his or her own conscience. This is a tragic comment on the world which was and is now that we live. This is what evil men do to good men. So now the tragedy of the world. I got to move on here. Now you got the temptation from the world. It don't get no better. But you got to keep the faith. Notice the temptation from the world. They were stoned. They were sawed asunder, tempted, slain with the sword, wandered about in sheepskins, goat skins, destitute, afflicted, tormented. Lord, when does it stop? These are horrible pictures of death. They were cast to the ground and surrounded by a mob of executioners. The executioners took hand-sized stones, hurled them at the victim, causing them excruciating pain. They can hit them so accurately that you can get the vital parts of the human body. You can knock them in the head at 100 yards, crushing them. Some were sawed asunder. They called it the mare's steel. We believe Isaiah died this way, like a long blade, and they just slide him down there. Oliver Green says the method used was to put a person in a hollow log and then to saw through the log and the person. John Butler says of Saul asunder, this hideous, barbaric, bloody, and brutal method of ending life came from the pagans. Tradition says that the prophet Isaiah, as I mentioned, met his death this way under the orders of King Manasseh. Persecutors are not satisfied just to kill, but must kill in the most gruesome way possible and in a way that makes the victim suffer to the extreme. People is not going to like us because of the faith. These who had the faith, they were lured with tempting offers. Why? To renounce the faith. But they refused. Lord have mercy. They refused. The cost of living by faith was being forced to travel, flee frequently to avoid further persecution. They had to always constantly run for their life. They had to dress in a tie that wasn't like ours. But the good news is, he goes on and say, of whom the world was not worthy. Yeah, they wandered in deserts and in mountains, dens and caves of the earth. They were stripped of all clothing, forced to wander about in sheepskins and goatskins. They were stripped of all possessions, had everything taken away and confiscated. Homes, property, money, everything. They were left utterly destitute, and they were afflicted and tormented, watch this, as much as possible to become object lessons. Object lessons in order to stop anyone else from believing in Christ. Somebody always looking at you. They trying to see how much faith do you have. And I tell church folks, don't use atheistic language. When you get in a tight, don't talk about what am I going to do, where I'm going to get some money. That's atheistic language. We serve a God that can provide everything. But we want to talk like atheists. I don't know how I'm going to get out of this. I'm going to need some help. Well, call on the Lord. These folks, they was forced to wander about and find shelter wherever they could. Who wants to live in a desert? Who wants to live in mountains? Who wants to live in dens and caves? Well, I tell you, people who are loyal to Christ. People who are willing to keep the faith. It's hard for us to keep the faith, and we got 3 and 4 bedroom houses, 2 bedrooms apartments, got cars we can drive, and let it rain. Told church this morning, some folks in California, they fair weather Christians. If it rained too hard, they not coming to church. Pastor, I paid too much for this hair. And it's not even their real hair. He wants us to keep the faith. Notice the text. He says, of whom the world was not worthy. Notice this clause, of whom the world is not worthy, is in here to remove the object lesson before. In other words, we're not worthy of this world. Yeah. The writer, he puts the blame rightly where it belongs. It is society which is unworthy of having the saints of God in their midst. I'm talking about the ones that's willing to keep the faith. Those, and I keep saying I got to hurry here, those persecuted for their faith, as I stated earlier, they seldom lived in mansions. They didn't have the prestigious neighborhoods of San Leandro or El Sobrante, dens, caves, hideouts in the wilderness. Wild beasts was their neighbors. There is always going to be tension between the people who have faith in Christ and this evil world. Tension between the brutality and the beautiful. Tension between evil and good. Tension between the actual and the possible. Tension between the temporal and the eternal. Yet our job is to refuse to escape the tension by compromising or surrendering our faith, but to remain loyal to God. Our faith cannot be like silver. The less you use it, the more quickly it becomes tarnished. Y'all miss me? Our faith cannot be like silver. The less you use it, the more quickly it becomes tarnished. It is the fiery trial which puts to the proof the kind of faith we really possess. If we hold on to the faith, there is compensation in the faith. God will, oh Lord, He will reward us. There's compensation in the faith. We have seen the tragedy of the world. We see the temptation from the world. And now, since it looked like my help was over there, we're going to see the transition from this world. The text says, and these all, having obtained a good report, through faith, receive not the promise. God having provided some better thing for us, that they without us should not be made perfect. These all, the writer says, having obtained a good report through faith. The good report is not going to come from your Sunday school teacher. The good report is not going to come, from your Bible study teacher. The good report is not even going to come from your pastor. But the good report is going to come from God. Lord, and I know we have devices nowadays we can use where we can cheat. But you won't be able to cheat God. Because God is the author and finisher of our faith. Lord, the world may give a good report, for the world does not esteem faith. So faith from the world is not going to be on your report card. But God, when he looks at my report card, he going to see where is the faith. Oh, Lord, I'm trying to drill it in here. He says they received not the promise. All and especially the best compensations are seldom received down here on earth. Oh, Lord, therefore, it remains that we stay faithful. Lord, these who died before Christ came, they had patience for the reward. Really, he is the pinnacle of faith, a willingness to accept the worst the world has to offer. Lord, and all the world has to offer is death. But because of trust in God, I said I wasn't going to do that. He offers the resurrection, and that's good news. But I got to close here. What I like about it is God is a provider of our faith. Lord, God haven't provided some better thing for us that they without us should not be made perfect. What I like about God, God knows how to provide a correct balance in our lives. Lord, God knows how much joy and how much sorrow to provide in our lives. God knows how much prosperity and how much poverty to provide in our lives. God knows the correct balance of sunshine and storm to provide in our lives. God knows the precise mixture of darkness and light to provide in our lives. I thank God that God knows how to provide, but that ain't all. They never saw Christ. They never saw him crucified. They never saw the promised seed. They never saw the ascension of him on the right hand of the Father. But we look back at that old rugged cross. We know that he died. We know he was buried. We know that he rose. I thank God I'm going to hold on to the faith. You do know faith is of little value until it is tested. I thank God that he's testing me to hold on to the faith. I need to ask you a question. How strong is your faith? Will your faith stand testing? Is it strong enough to trust God regardless of circumstances? Will it stand against fear? Will it stand against discouragement? Will it stand against doubt? My prayer is that my faith looks up to thee, thy Lamb of Calvary, Savior divine. Now hear me while I pray. Take all of my guilt away. Oh, let me this day be wholly thine. May thy rich grace impart, strength to my fainting heart, my zeal inspired, as thou hast died for me. One Friday evening, he died on that cross. They buried him in a borrowed tomb. 3 days later, TLC, what happened? New Hope already know. He got up with all power in his hands. Ain't he all right? Say yeah. Say yeah. Say yeah. Hold on. Hold on to the faith. No matter how rough it gets, hold on. Faith and works, they both go together. I'm leaving now, but there's a story told about an old Scotsman. He had a transportation rowing boat service. He would row customers from one side of the lake to the other. One day he picked up a passenger. Passenger sitting in the rowboat. He noticed on the oars, one had faith, one had works. So curiosity led the passenger to ask the old man, what does this mean? The old Scot man, always looking for a chance to share Christ. He said, well, faith and work together. He said, let me demonstrate it to you. He let go of the oar that had works. Start trying to row with just faith alone. The boat just turned around in a circle. Then he grabbed works and left faith alone. Start rowing, and the boat just turned around in a circle. He said, but when you grab both of them and start rowing, you can make it across the lake fast. You can make it across anything fast with faith and works. God bless you.